put another one. We'll title this Debunking a Quick Guide to Sovereign Citizens by the UNC School of Government, revised 2013. All praise be to the Most High, the God of Moses and Abraham. I like to say I love my mother, I love my father, I love our son, and I have love for the mother of our son. So we have this document here, Quick Guide to Sovereign Citizens. And basically, the term sovereign citizen is an oxymoron because one can't be both. So one is a king, and the citizen is like a cargo or a ship or a vessel or a box. So this is some kind of term that the powers that be made to, do misinformation for people. So basically, this is saying no much information for people was provided by these detectives, police department, and gentlemen from the North Carolina Attorney General's office. So I'll just glaze over this. So what is a sovereign citizen? Catch-all phrase referring to a variety of anti-government individuals and groups who share some common beliefs and behaviors. The organizations to which many sovereign citizens belong have a variety of names: Morris Nation, etc., Washita Nation, American Republic, Republic of the United States of America. So basically, people that call themselves this term don't really know the etymology or the study of the words, and we're all trying to work on that, and referring to these people as anti-government. Some of these names are sovereign. The original man or indigenous people of America, and then also saying Republic of the U.S. of America. So if you look at the history, you'll see that it's more of a republic and not a democracy. Democracy is demon rule, and that's not what it is. And it's saying basically that sovereign citizens can be in organizations or not, and they view the courts and law enforcement as illegitimate, and they go for the common law and are exempt from the authority of so-called fraudulent government institutions. So it's stated there's a maxim of law, know who you're dealing with. So if they're saying that the courts are corrupt, you have to find why they're corrupt and why they're not legitimate. So in the other videos that we spoke of, we talked about the tax exemption of the court in the county here, and they didn't have a tax exemption. So, auditing that would lead to the corruption and illegitimacy, because you have an agency calling themselves government, but when you run them by the IRS, they're not tax exempt. So they can't be claiming to be government and not be tax exempt. So it says sovereign citizens, they issue their own driver's license, vehicle tags, and file their own liens against government officials who cross them. So with this statement, government officials who cross them. So if it is a government official, they're not going to cross people. If it's a color of law de facto, or they're acting under color of law, then they will cross people. Questions judges about the validity of their oaths. Challenges the applicability of traffic laws to them. In extreme cases, resort to violence to protect their imagined rights. So these statements are very one-sided and misinformed. So let's go into the validity of the judge's oaths. So some of the oaths of office that I've seen have not been valid, and there's certain criteria that would make the oath of office valid. Are the judges bonded? Are they vetted? Challenge the applicability of traffic laws to them. So once again, a license is a benefit and a privilege. And when you get the privilege of a license, you forego your the right to travel. Extreme cases resort to violence to protect their imagined rights. So no one has imagined rights. You have rights from God that are protected by the Constitution. They speak an odd quasi-legal language and believe that by not capitalizing names and by writing in red using certain catchphrases, they can avoid liability in our judicial system. So basically, capitalizing names is referring to a less English or less English legal creation, all caps name, corpse. They think they can lay claim to vast sums of money held by the U.S. Treasury based on the premise that government is secretly pledged them as a security for the country's debts. So basically, this is true because it is backed by our labor, and the U.S. keeps borrowing on the premise of us working and the security for the country's debts. Yes, if you go to debtclock.org, it will show the U.S. corporation's debt minute by minute, second by second. Based on the beliefs and a twisted understanding of the Uniform Commercial Code, they try various schemes that they think discharge them from responsibility for their debts. So in the Bible it says, forgive us of our debts and we forgive our debtors. But it seems in the U.S. corporation, they don't want to do that. And the Uniform Commercial Code is used at the state level because they have a state level UCC, but it follows the UCC, but it could be a commercial code. And the government just charges their debts. Why is there a problem for just a regular man or woman to discharge their debts? So it's saying that most harmless sovereign citizens are cranks who talk what seems gibberish to cops, magistrates, and judges, and then become law-abiding citizens that they face real legal trouble. At a different level, they may severely burden the courts and other government offices with the filing of hundreds and hundreds of pages of nonsensical documents, and at their very worst, they may resort to deadly force to defend their strange beliefs. So, in any of these venues, in these courts, they have rules, civil procedure rules, federal rules of civil procedure, state rules of civil procedure for the court. It's saying that these people burdened with hundreds of nonsensical documents. No one should be doing this if they don't comprehend what they're doing. And also, it's saying that these people resort to deadly force to defend their strange beliefs. So most people, or some people, will defend what they believe in. So regardless of calling these people oxymoron, people believe in what they believe, and some will fight to the death for their beliefs. This is what they believe. Of the myriad of SC groups, I'll say sovereign citizen, just SC group to shorten it. An individual is not tied to a particular group, has their own idiosyncrasies in their beliefs, try to share some common ideas. First two classes of citizens with the U.S. De jure, original citizen of the state. First created 14th Amendment, federal U.S. citizens. So yes, they created the 14th Amendment citizens, so they control what they create. Um, de jure is real, de facto is false, um, and that would be de jure the republic, de facto the U.S. corporation or the people acting under color of law. Much of sovereigns do is intend to rescind or denounce the federal citizenship and reclaim their common law sovereign status with all its rights. So basically, if people are in these invisible contracts, why would they not want to get out of that? If there are these full disclosures that the U.S. Government corporation is not disclosed to people. So that is the right to rescind or revoke. Says that helps explain why they refuse to get driver's license or register vehicles, reject Social Security, avoid using zip code, and not pay taxes, because those are all forms of contracting with the government and accepting a lesser class of federal citizenship. So yes, as stated, when you accept the benefits and privileges, you forego your right. Register mean to the king. So if you're putting it in their name, they have the true ownership. Can you use it? Yes. Um, Reconstruction history is important to many SCs. Civil War. Let me see. It says that they have a distinction between sovereign federal citizens. Stated sovereign is from God. Citizen comes with benefits and privileges. So which one will you pick? Um, As a consequence, they say two separate identities are created. The corporate shell account, pledge of security, is a straw man, and sovereign citizens refer, in their view, is separate and distinct from the true flesh and blood identity. So the straw man is the legal fiction in all capital letters, and this is like a way to navigate in commerce. That is not you, but people say, "Oh, this is me," but that is not you. And then the true flesh and blood man or woman is different than the legal fiction. So SCs view the government-controlled enslaved straw man as evidenced by documents showing the person's name in all capital letters. Yes, enslaved straw man, government-controlled. So government means mind control. Govern to rule means mental. Birth certificates, social security cards, driver's license, tax forms represent shell of corporate identity. The straw man because they're written all caps. So the dead has to speak with the dead. So when you're dealing in a fictional world, this is how they communicate with you. They can't communicate with a flesh and blood man or woman, so they have to commute with you through your corpse or your corporation. So SC avoids inadvertent subjection to false government and avoids being mistaken for a federal citizen by signing in a certain manner. So regardless of the government being false, mistake for federal citizen by signing documents a certain manner, for identifying oneself as John Doe, executive trustee, private contract trust. So basically, in any kind of contractual agreement, you want to sign proper and you want to have full disclosure and consideration to know what one is signing. It says something about an executive or straw man. Executors dealing with estates, uh, private contracts, copyrights, attorney in fact, authorized representative. These are all secured party in the UCC code. Names, noble or El or Bey, yes. These are names, Moorish names. Further avoid inadvertent submission of false government. So they keep saying false government. no one wants to be a part of a false government. So regardless of them calling these so-called people SCs, who wants to be involved in a false government? Not me, not the sovereign citizens people, but who wants to be included in some false? Put the brackets or say what is near in the address. Um, but intended by sovereign citizen to make no longer dealing with enslaved or federal citizen with limited rights. You now the real common law flesh and blood and sovereign citizen in front of you. So the common law is more strict, but it's more realer than the statutory law, and they have made it statutes and codes. The common law would be more strict, but it would be more fair. SC's views about strawman, treasury account. They do have treasury account. UCC filing UCC financing statements. A lot of entities and people file these, so this is not some bias because most people in commerce do file these things. Creditors is payment of their debts. Creditor wrong refuse accept the tender. Yeah, so that's in the UCC code, UCC 3-603, that if discharge is refused, it's still discharged. Hold harmless agreements, birth certificate bonds. Yeah, this is all true. Security agreement, indemnity bonds, hold harmless agreements. This is insurance law, commerce law. This exists. It's not false. Practices and beliefs vary group to group. Yeah, religions, they have different beliefs. I'm agent of Fred Jones, sovereign agent of Fred Jones. So if Fred Jones is a fiction and a flesh and blood man is speaking, it would be an agent. Bring their own court reporter to court proceedings. Will be able to talk about common law, admiralty law, and the oaths of office. An SC may carry copy of Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary is a famous law dictionary amongst the law community. 1787 Treaty of Morocco, Friendship Treaty, that they were the first to acknowledge the U.S. SCs tend to believe squatters' rights to move into houses that have been foreclosed or abandoned, fix up until these turn on and confirm their own ownership of the property. So they do that, and also the so-called government does that as well. Let me see. So they're saying they reject things, file paper after paper with very courts whose legitimacy they deny, seeking to vindicate their own common law rights. So there's some appellate cases, appealing court decisions, lack of jurisdiction. Some names of organizations: Moorish Nation, Washita Nation. So these indigenous nations have been around before the colonizers for the U.S. and the Queen of England. But it's just interesting to see this biased writing. So more organizations. North Carolina American Republic. Reconstruction Act is invalid. So they're questioning the validity of the government in North Carolina. Says mean to be free from traffic tickets, debts, taxes, and other government obligations. So you have a debt and an asset that's flip side. So there are people that make money from the debts, like say the courts. and the state police that do the traffic tickets. And this is a way for them to get money. With the tax exemption, it's money laundering because neither of these entities, the court or the state police, are not tax exempt. So this is a little school, this writing. Citizens may drive vehicles called conveyance. Sovereigns also tend to put gold stickers on documents and use multiple notary stamps. So basically, may drive vehicles. Well, for driving vehicles, you need a license, but this is also, you don't see this article talking bad about the Amish when they're rolling their buggies around town. And they would be example of sovereign, carry their own driver's license. Let me see what else. In addition to contrived ID, sovereign citizens may carry legitimate state driver's DL, changing their names. So below are words or phrases. Some are legitimate legal terms, but meaningless in the way they're used by sovereign citizens. It would take a long time to explain why citizens speak and write the way they do these words. Just to be aware, recurrence communicating is one indicator that the person is sovereign citizen. So you have straw man. Yes, this is true. De facto government. Who wants a de facto government? People want de jure, conveyance rather than vehicles. Yeah, there's a difference. References to UCC. As stated, the people in the law community do that. 1099s, banking, tax people. A lot of people use this. Traveling in commercial capacity. Yeah, if you have a CDL A class and you're driving trucks, that is your designation. Aboriginal, original man, original woman. Who is the victim? So this is referring to corpus delicti, I believe. Where's the victim? Where's the probable cause? Copyright after person's name. Yeah, who doesn't copyright or trademark their stuff? EIN rather than SSN. There's different purposes for the TIN and EIN. Reference to HCR 192. Yeah, that the debts are prepaid. UN Indigenous People Seat 215. Special trust deposit. Dishonor in commerce. Just dealing with commercial law. Staying in honor. Thumbprints on document. Thumbprints are unique. Common law. Man on the land. Indigenous. Non-resident alien. So yeah, non-resident alien. If the U.S. is the foreign corporation known as DC, we would be aliens. Non-resident. So for someone to reside in DC, you can't really reside in DC because that's a foreign territory. So we would be aliens, foreign to them and foreign to us. Traveling in private capacity, use of red ink. Yes, the colors mean something. Sui juris, in one's own right. Redemption. Yeah, that there has to be some kind of remedy. By the grace of God, the obligation to get out. Where is your oath of office? Yes, you want to know who you're dealing with. You want to examine that to see if it's valid. Brackets around zip code, domicile, chargeback notice. Yeah, credit cards dealing chargeback. This is commercial stuff. That is a transmitting utility. This is all over UCC financing statement. U.S. minor outlying islands in Admiralty. Yes, we are in Admiralty. Bankruptcy, liquidation, everything is of the water. Maritime and Admiralty. Except for value. This is contract law. Executive, this is estates. Final solution, free man. Affidavit of truth. Yeah, this is in law, contract law. Judicial District attends. Title 4 flag. UCC statement. Silent is acquiescence. Yes, these are in maxims of law. Requesting officials bond. Yes, you want to know if the person is vetted, they're bonded, they're licensed. Fiduciary. Letters of marquee. Sovereign living soul. UCC 1-207. I believe now is UCC 1-308. State citizen. So now this is filings. Filing papers. Criminal charges against intimidate public officials. Clerks of court and registers of deed. So notice a copyright, common law copyright, trademark. Register and warrant claim for trust of special deposit. Traffic tickets, abandoned paperwork, affidavit, specific and negative averment, opportunity to cure and counterclaim. These are all things in the law community. Negative averment. It's a burden on the official to respond. Yes, when you are doing business and you do interrogatories, you are trying to get the other party to respond. Notice an international commercial claim with the Admiralty ab initio administrative remedy. Yes, the government works in administrative law. The IRS, the police, they all do administrative law. Notice a default, commercial liens. Banks, all of the people do this. This is not new, but it's bad for these so-called sovereign citizens to do it. Express specific reservation of rights. Yes, you have to reserve your rights or they'll trample on you. And even if you reserve your rights, don't guarantee they won't. Outrageous sum of money, billions and billions of dollars. Non-negotiable declaration of form of trust, affidavit in commerce. Notice a default demand for full disclosure. Who does not want the contract fully disclosed? And as stated earlier, the contract's not fully disclosed could do rescission or revocation. Affidavit of citizenship and domicile. Legal notice right to travel. Yes. Notice of dishonor. Silver surety bond. Yeah, the silver and gold. One little tiny piece of that is worth more than the fiat currency. Assertion, non-statutory abatement. Yeah, this is all contract law. So, chargeback notice, U.S. Treasury. Says some of the activities by sovereigns or lawsuits and liens against public officials. Court can deal with frivolous lawsuits to Rule 11, contempt, and gatekeeper orders. False liens. Often does not know until much later. False liens, encumbrances against property. All they're doing is doing the same thing that they do. So who's in the wrong? The statute subsequently has been amended to include false claims. Statute also establishes a procedure for the Register of Deeds to reject filings. Allows a public official to sue for trouble damages of the fair and deceptive trade practices law. So it's stated, anyone calling themselves sovereign citizen does not know the meaning of those words. There's bias towards these people coming against public officials, but the idea is that in this so-called country, they never really go to the source to figure out why it happened. So that's the thing, is that it's easier to just make up these lies than to say, well, okay, well, the public official is doing something egregious. Would he not be responsible? Or where is the credibility and liability for the people working as public officials? So, public official, civil servant, that means slave to the public. But for some reason, some of these people that take these positions feel that they're not slave to the public, or they're there to collect a check. I can't say that about everybody, but that's the issue, is that due to the lack of accountability, due to them not fully disclosing what is going on with these contracts, and creating joiner when you have an encounter with a public official or police. Basically, this article, or this manual, was talking about a quick guide to sovereign citizens, and those people you do not want to be. And it's important to know what you're getting into, to study and read and know thyself. Study thyself until approved to God. So basically, just analyzed this document, and you could just find it up here, but no, you don't want to be a sovereign citizen. So thank you for your time, and good night.